if I can't really hear it, that's probably about the right presence of sound out there.
Yeah, it's
so that it's sort of like we just want it to be present, not
it's
soaring.
like the way they have it set up. What I heard here when I went out there sounded like the same.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
And you said Eagle's Wings is first?
Eagle's Wings is first. Yeah. So that will be good.
See, I can sing. Don't ask me to do it.
Well, the same is usually true for me on the playing side.
People are why don't you get up and talk? No thanks. I can get lost in my music. Decent crowd.
I've just got a few words to share this morning, and we'll have some time for others to share some memories in a little bit here as well. So we feel very blessed to have had Bert and Jeannie in our lives. And so I've got a few words to share about Bert this morning. And we'll have some time for stories and favorite memories as well. I've got a few stories that Jeannie has shared with me and us over the years, and a bit from our own view across the street. So there may be a few surprises in here. But I want to share a few words about Bert this morning, sort of from this view of across the street. You know, we've lived there for 20 years, and it's been a gift to all of us to really see Bert's sacrificial love for Jeannie. So all of us here today, we're all here, you know, gathered to honor the life of Bert, and we all know him as a kind, quiet, hard-working, and dependable man. We know that he liked to work hard, and often in the background. As an introvert, I can relate to that. But he and Jeannie did everything together. Bert was a devoted husband, and it was always apparent to us, just from the moment that we moved in, how much he loved and respected Jeannie. And recently, Jeannie retold the story to us about how they reunited at a class reunion. It had been a few years since high school, and Jeannie was on her way to the reunion in a car that ultimately left her stranded on the side of the road. There were three gentlemen that showed up with an offer to help. They got the car all fixed up. They may have gone down the street to a town where there was a car parts store and got the things they needed. And upon returning, they got it all taken care of. And so after this was all done, Jeannie had turned around because she wanted to offer them some money for their help. And as she turned around, they had vanished. They weren't there anymore. And so, as it turned out, Bert and Jeannie had reconnected that night. They were later married after a time, and they often talked about that night and how the angels both came to rescue her and to ensure that they connected. Moving on to perhaps another story here. Growing up, Bert had always wanted to go to Disney, but had never had the chance. And so after Bert and Jeannie remarried, they planned a trip. And they fell in love with Disney right away, with the magic of Disney. So they joined the Disney Vacation Club, which allowed them to go annually for many years, and they often shared those adventures with family and friends, probably many of the people here today. There are lots of memories together were made at Disney, and Bert and Jeannie often referred to it as their happy place. So many of you know that Bert traveled a little bit for his work, and so there was one particular trip where he was down in Florida. He was down there for work, and he decided that he was going to go explore Disney alone. This is a favorite place. And so he did that, and he went over there to Disney, and he walked around trying to take it all in, and well, it just wasn't the same. It just wasn't the same without Jeannie. And so he later called Jeannie, I think that evening, and said, well, I'll never do that again, because Disney was their happy place, and it just wasn't the same without her. Jeannie and Bert have very different personalities, but they complemented each other, and they brought out the best in each other. Jeannie often talks about how Bert loved her unconditionally, and she told me recently that while Bert wasn't a perfect man, he was perfect for her, and the best thing that ever happened to her. It's a beautiful gift for each one of us to witness a generous, a joyful, and a healthy marriage. We're getting to a little bit of the across the street part here. So Bert worked hard with Jeannie every year caring for their yard. There's lots to do, and every year we'd see them spending hours together outside, planting flowers, caring for the beautiful annuals, and everything else around the house. And they also loved to decorate the inside and outside of their home. Those of you that have been there for the holidays have seen just a beautiful home. And between the flowers and the decorations, we've always had a beautiful view out our front window. And we've been grateful for that. But that view is more than those flowers. It's more than the Christmas lights and the decorations. It's also watching them work together, because Bert was always there to help and to support Jeannie. So beyond making their house a home, they have also long encouraged the neighborhood to get together during National Night Out. It's a favorite tradition in our neighborhood. And over this annual tradition, Bert would often quietly be serving his neighborhood out on the back deck, grilling brats and hot dogs, and hosting many times over the years. Many of us today, many of us here in the room have made a circle on the front driveway to welcome new friends to the neighborhood and been blessed by their hospitality and effort to build community. So beyond Disney, Bert and Jeannie love to have fun together. They like to have lots of adventures to the Minnesota State Fairgrounds for the State Fair, Minnesota State Fair, great get-together, and the Back to the 50s car show. Which segues us into the car that you may have seen in the parking lot. So Bert loved working on his classic car, a 1932 Ford Coupe. He spent lots of hours designing various features, planning, and working in the garage on his project. This funding for this project came from a very dedicated effort by Bert to save lots of quarters. He filled up lots of those banks that you may have seen on the back table there, and I understand that at one time there were some 39 of those that were filled up with quarters, in part because restoring a car, of course, takes a lot of quarters. It had long been a dream for Bert to drive the car in the back to the 50s car show, though a few years ago that dream seemed to be slipping away as Bert was diagnosed with Parkinson's and his hands could no longer do the work. This time, it was the neighborhood that came together to finish up the car while Bert could still enjoy it. 3 neighbors, all car guys, all with different specialties and talents, came together to support that dream. For weeks, they showed up every day with tools, gradually unloaded the shelves in the garage, installed parts, searched for the needed items, and more. By this time, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's made helping with the car assembly a no-go for Bert. However, Bert sat in the garage. He had a garage chair out there. He sat in that, watching and chatting with the guys almost every day as they worked to finish the car. So while there's some work remaining on the electrical and the interior and some finish work, Bert did get to see that engine start up, a major milestone in any car build project. And it was beautiful to see these guys come together for Bert. So that 1942 coupe that you all saw outside today, 32? Did I say 42? Sorry. You lose track of the details when you're standing in front. So, all right, 1932 Ford Coupe that you all saw outside today will be part of the procession to the cemetery before it heads to the shop where Bert's son-in-law and nephew plan to finish it so that it can fulfill Bert's dream to appear at next year's Back to the 50s car show. I came to know Bert through the ordinary tasks of life, mowing the yard, fixing a sprinkler head, and shoveling snow. So one of my favorite stories with Bert happened while we were shoveling snow. We haven't had as much the last few years, but one year we had a lot. And we were over shoveling the steps nearby the front door there, and we were nearly done, and it was still snowing. We knew this was, there's going to be more later. Not knowing how precise might Bert like to be to clear all the snow, I kept going to try to get all the last little bits here and there. And finally, Bert looked at me and he said, "Joe, I worked for GE for 30 years. GE stands for good enough. And this is, let's be done. Let's be done." So, the last year of Bert's life was very hard. Parkinson's and Alzheimer's stole a lot from him, but they never stole his spirit or his sense of humor. Several of us here in the room have helped pick him back up when he lost his balance. And while frustration would be a normal emotion under the circumstances, Bert was always good-natured about it, often saying "wee" as we picked it up. Even the night that he fell and was taken to the hospital, he was making jokes as the paramedics carried him out to the ambulance. He later remarked that he was very disappointed in that particular ambulance ride. It's not every day one gets to ride in an ambulance, and he wished they would have turned on the siren for him. So while extraordinarily challenging the last couple of years, Bert continued to live his life with quiet acceptance. Bert will be greatly missed from across the street, from our homes, and from all the paces of life. He's been a beautiful example of a loving, kind, devoted husband, father, a new grandpa, uncle, and a friend. He was a great example to me, and we've been blessed to have had the privilege to know him. So please pray with me. Father, we give thanks for every good gift, for the life of Bert, and for his beautiful marriage with Jeannie. We humbly entrust Bert to your mercy, love, and care, and may Bert rest in peace. And may the love of God and the peace of Jesus Christ bless and console us, and gently wipe away every tear from our eyes. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So now what I'm going to do here is just open this up. So if you have a favorite memory of Bert, a way that he has impacted your life, the life of your family, you're welcome to come up here and just share a few memories here. So.
Hello, everyone. I believe I have a nice neighborly story. We've been friends a long time with Jeannie and Bert Gustafson, who moved to Blaine, Minnesota. Jeannie's a retired nurse, and as you heard, Bert was retired from GE, good enough, company. A little background history. Jeannie graduated in 1966 from Hudson High School in Wisconsin, where Burt was also a classmate. However, going into their senior year, his family moved to Florida. They reconnected at their Hudson High School 50-year class reunion, where Burt was invited to the class to attend. For 4 years later, they married in 1985 and moved to Somerset, Wisconsin. At this time, Burt purchased a 1932 Ford Coupe, parts that needed to be restored. This was going to be a husband and wife lifelong restoration project. Sometime in the early 90s, they moved to their brand new home in Blaine, Minnesota, with the disassembled car in tow. For 30 plus years, when they had time and money, they would try to work on the car a little at a time, with the desire to go on a leisurely ride and with the hope to someday drive it to the Minnesota Street Rod Association back to the 50s at the Minnesota State Fair, which they had attended annually. Unfortunately, life got in the way. And very little of the restoration was done. Burt was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease a few years ago, and it appeared their car would never get restored. Jeannie and Burt have given to others over their lifetime in many ways, hosting many Christmas parties for friends and neighbors, and also hosted a national night out in their garage where neighbors saw how much work needed to be done for the restoration. Because of Burt's failing health, 3 of their neighbors, Joe, Don, and Scott, one a retired airplane mechanic, another a member of the Minnesota Street Rod Association, felt it in their hearts to step up and finish the restoration project. Burt's disease progressed, and he was not able to actually drive that 32 Ford. They did fire the car up, and when Burt was able to hear that throaty rumble of the engine, he grinned from ear to ear. Now Kathy, myself, my daughter Nikki, and Steph, we were with Jeannie and the family when Burt passed away. It was a very touching moment, very lovely, very heartwarming. We have nothing but love for Jeannie and Burt.
Hi, I'm Jeannie and Uncle Bert's niece. I have gotten to know my uncle
going on many days, and he spent a lot of time out in that garage seeing the project happen for him. And so we had a lot of fun as well. You know, Don and Joe have worked on a lot of car projects. I've worked on a lot of manufacturing projects, not necessarily cars. So I was the gopher. They'd hold it up. Can you make one of these? Sure. Can you go find one of these? Absolutely. But we took the car to a certain point, and now it's time for the guys that know glass and know interiors and have different skills to take over. So the car's out there. It's been a big part of this whole story, and just wanted to let you know that the rest of us had fun with it too.
I know there may be a few more stories, but I also know there's another service this afternoon, and so we're working with some time constraints here a little bit. So I'm going to invite Jeannie up. Jeannie has some words to share with us, and then there will be one more song that we're going to listen to, and then we're going to move over towards lunch, and we'll have some more time for stories as we're all enjoying some food together.
I just want to add a couple things about that car. I too was a gopher, and I was actually on some of the car places. They knew my name, and we had a lot of fun with it, and chasing parts to all kinds of different places. And Joe would say, "Go get this part," and I'd say, "Now, is this everything I need about it? Do I need one? Do I need two?" And he'd give me all this stuff, and I'd get there, and they'd say, "Well, but there's this kind, and there's this kind. Which kind do they want?" So then I'd have to call Joe and say, "You didn't give me all the information. I need a little bit more because there's different kinds." He goes, "Well, I told you that." And they said, "No, you didn't." I said, "But I'd like to hear it now because I want to bring it home." And so I too played that role, and the guys were so wonderful and so respectful of Bert. Joe would tease him a lot, and Don was just there, and Don spent a lot of time talking with Bert, and they spent a lot of time in the garage. And this last year, during the winter, Don would call me in the morning and say, "I'm coming down," and I'd turn the heater on, heat up the garage, and Don would come down and work. And there's not enough thankfulness that I can say, because that made Bert's last year. It really did. And he knew that car would be finished by Steve and Steven. And he was so grateful for that, knowing that. So I have something to read. It's called A Letter from Heaven. When tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not there to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me, I wish so much you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of the many things we didn't get to say. I know how much you love me, as much as I love you. And each time that you think of me, I know you'll miss me too. When tomorrow starts without me, don't think we're far apart. For every time you think of me, I'm right here in your heart. And that kind of says it all. And other comments I just want to say is, he was such a humble man. He never, ever bragged about anything. And he always put other people first. And he was always concerned about people and willing to help them in any way he could. And I was so blessed. He was quiet, and many people didn't get to see that side of him. But I feel that I was blessed so much to have him for 44 years and 4 months, and that's the best blessing I could have ever had. I love you, honey, and I always will.
to Jenny's end. Sleep now and dream of the ones who came before. They are calling from across a distant shore. Why do you weep? What are these tears upon your face? Soon you'll see all of your fears will pass away, safe in my arms. You're only sleeping. What can you see? On the horizon, why do the white gulls call? Across the sea, a pale moon rises. The ships have come to carry you home. Dawn will turn to silver glass, a light on the water, all souls pass, hope fades into the world of night, through shadows falling out of memory and time. Don't say we have come now to the end. White shores are calling. You and I will meet again, and you'll be here in my arms, just sleeping.